What is up, watch friends? It's Friday. Welcome, Paco, to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. I'm Tony. Today is the Q&A. Yay. I'm a little flustered, a little frustrated. I get home and there's a UPS, a FedEx tag on my door. I know what it is. It's an expensive watch. And usually on the FedEx tags, they tell you that they'll drop it off at the FedEx drop-off package place and I can just pick it up. Not this time. There was nothing, so I had to call FedEx. Anyway, it's a long story. I should have a new watch to show you guys pretty soon, hopefully. On top of that, I got another watch too. I haven't even opened it yet. So, all right, chill. It's Friday. It's the Q&A. For those of you who don't know what the Q&A is, every Friday we do a question and answer. If you'd like to have your question featured, all you got to do is ask your question in the comments below, and I'll answer it. So, and today I'm wearing my Zenith Chronomaster Open Heart El Primero. Love this watch. All right, so the first question comes from Kavork-Norian. Hi, Tony. Love your show. What is your honest opinion between old and new Submariner? Which old one? I mean, you going back to the 5513? Or are you going to go to the 14060? Where are we at? All right, so the new sub, 124060, 41 millimeter, ceramic bezel, chromolite, the Cerachrome hairspring, and 70 hours of power reserve. It's a beautiful watch. I have one, had one. And it wore a little bit top heavy for me. And after getting my Batgirl, I stopped wearing the sub. The older reference, you know, they're classic. I love the look of vintage Submariners. You know, so if you're going, depending on how far back, I mean, the furthest back I would probably go would be to a 14060 M, which would have a 3130 caliber movement, aluminum bezel, which doesn't bother me. Probably 48-hour power reserve, maybe 42 hours, not sure. Not sure if those are 200 meters water resistance, but either way, it just depends. Of course, now you're going back to the older subs, you're going to have hollow end links. They're going to be a little bit more jangly on the bracelet, probably more comfortable, and it'll probably fit better on someone like me with a 6.5-inch wrist. So hope that answers your question, man. Thank you. David Parrish Productions. What's up, David? How are you? Always good to hear from you. Happy weekend, my buddy. The Zenith event looked like so much fun. You clean up nice. Thanks, dude. Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. Yeah, and I did wear a button-up shirt and whatever, made myself look a little bit more presentable. Question, how/where do you store your extra straps for watches? Thanks, Tony. You're the best. I have a big bag. For the most part, they're in a big bag, in a drawer, a Ziploc bag, but one of those really big ones. And there's a ton of straps in there. I also have a lot of straps that are just not in the bag that are in the drawer. I also have a couple of straps in my watch box, the jewelry box part of it. So pretty simple there. Nothing special. I don't keep them in any kind of humidor or anything like that. So, but thanks for your question, man. Always appreciate it. This next one comes from Mick Fryer 6120. Hi, Tony. Just found you on YouTube and really dig your videos. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Two-piece Rolex and Breitling owner here from Australia. From Australia, mate. Good day. That's awesome, man. I have recently cashed in on an investment and have some money for toys. A rare occurrence. I don't know whether to buy an IWC Mark 20, the current Breitling Navitimer 41, and a Rolex Date-Just 36 silver dial with Jubilee. I mean, purchasing all three watches together or go hard on a Rolex GMT root beer. Have wanted all four watches for years. To be honest, I would love to turn my two-piece collection into a 5 and only imagine wearing the root beer in my retirement years. But it's tempting knowing that I could obtain a root beer now. What do you think? I'm a professional musician these days. Just doing the bar entertainer thing. My claim to fame was being Angry Anderson's guitar player for a while. He was fronted Rose Tattoo. Rose Tattoo, man. Scarred for life, dude. I loved Rose Tattoo. When I was younger And when they were still, for those of you guys don't know, there were almost like a really harder edged AC/DC type band. Angry Anderson was this bald dude, fully tatted up, more tattoos than I'd ever seen on anybody at the time. And they had some fame in Australia and England for sure. I don't necessarily think they broke the United States, but they do, or they used to play occasionally on like those Metal Mania videos on like VH1. They would play the videos. Cool gig, dude. So yeah, I respect you for that. It was great fun. Marshall JMPs opened right up, multiple quad boxes, and playing open E slide to ear-shattering volume. Yeah, loud band, dude. I had to transition to acoustic guitar. Man in the corner work these days because bad rock and roll habits. And don't you think I know about that, man, because I do. But congratulations for, getting out of those habits. Still playing, whether it's the bar scene, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? As long as you're not doing that stupid shit that we all used to do when we were younger in rock and roll bands. And now found watches. That's awesome. Watches are my addiction these days. Mine too. I really love your videos and wish you all the happiness in the world from a fellow watch/guitar buddy. Hey, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, man, you got some good picks. I wouldn't go with a Breitling Navitimer is a classic Breitling. You know what I mean? It is the iconic Breitling watch. The IWC Mark 20 is also a nice watch, great little pilot watch. And then, of course, you're looking at a Rolex Datejust 36 with a silver dial, Jubilee bracelet. I mean, or get a GMT root beer, man. That's up to you. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a hard one because the root beer is very cool as well. You know what I mean? You're looking at a two-tone watch, so you got to watch out for scratching it. 18 karat gold, just you breathe on it wrong, it's going to scratch. So, if I were you, I would go with maybe the Datejust, and the IWC first. And if you have to get the Breitling, do it. And then wait to get the GMT. You know what I mean? If you're thinking about that as for like more in your retirement years, I don't know how old you are, but, I would do that. But having said that, if you can get the GMT now, you can get it now because you might not be able to get it easier down the road. But then again, you might. And then you'll always be able to get an IWC. You'll always be able to get an Navitimer. And Datejusts are becoming easier to get. So wish you all the best on that one, man. Let me know how it goes, okay? Appreciate it. Next question, Jeff B321. Hey Tony, been following you for a few years but haven't commented in a while. Where does a day-date rate on your radar? For me, a yellow gold Datejust, YGDD, is my grail. I'm like you in the fact I always dress casually. So my question is, would you consider even going after a Day-Date? YGDD, yellow gold Day-Date. My bad. Long day. And if so, which metal would you prefer and what would be your dial preference? Always enjoy your laid back approach and viewer/fan appreciation. Thanks, man. Yeah, I really do love the Day-Date. I always have, but I'm just not a yellow gold flash guy or rose gold even, but I love the rose gold with the chocolate dial. I love the yellow gold with the olive green dial, and I love the platinum. There's a platinum with a silver dial with bling on it, man, that I really like. But platinum weighs a ton. I tried the watch on and my wrist almost hit the table. But yeah, I do like the Day-Date. My buddy Lincoln Parrish lives in Nashville. He bought a Day-Date after I was there, in Nashville last year. And he wears it all the time as his daily. I mean, not just every day because he's got a whole bunch of other Rolex now too. But get it, dude. It's awesome. This next one comes from Bob NYC8822. Hey Tony, new to your channel. Thanks, buddy. Would like to hear your thoughts on watches for guys with a larger 7 3/4 inch wrist. Well, I don't know what you're talking about as far as, are you talking about like Rolex, things like that? I mean, if you're going to go with a 7 3/4 inch wrist, I know people that wear 36 millimeter Datejust with that kind of wrist size. So, but if you're looking for a bigger watch, you can go with the James Cameron, Deep Sea Rolex, or the regular 43 millimeter Sea Dweller. You can go for the Omega Ploprof. You can go for the Omega Deep Sea. You could go for the you can go for a Panerai Luminar submersible at like 44 millimeters. So there are a lot of watches out there, man. You just got to look for them, you know. But I hope that helps. And if you really want to go big, Rolex have that new 50 millimeter, I don't even know what it's called, titanium. Go to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Your watch can, but you wouldn't be able to. But thanks for your question, man. I hope that helps a little bit. This is from Shepard. Great list of watches, Tony. I have the Sapphire Speedmaster as my first and only watch right now, and love it. Looking to add some of these other ones eventually. This seems to be the level you love to buy and wear, but would love to hear your take on some favorites in lower price ranges. And I think your comment was on best watch brands of $10,000, about 10,000 and under. You know, I've had a lot of, I still have a lot of watches that are under that price point, but, you know, like you can still get Cartier, like a tank for $5,000, Tank Louis, you know, brand new. There's some cool Tag Heuers that, you know, I just don't buy them, you know. Breitlings, some of the Breitlings are cool, under 10 grand. Grand Seiko, though I'm not a Grand Seiko person, you know, just there's plenty of watches out there. I mean, you're looking at brands like Ball or Squale or whatever, things like that. Those way really cheap. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should do a video on it. I think I did a video on 5,000 or less, but I'm not sure. I have to double check that. But thanks for your question, man. Michael DeMarco 899 question. Tony, I know you have called your watch collecting a disease that a lot of us viewers share with you. I love that you are always open and honest with no BS. With that said, do you have a monetary limit on your collection? I set mine at 50,000. And if I'm approaching that limit, I usually force myself to sell off pieces just so I don't get out of control. Wondering if you do something like that too. I kind of do, but I don't sit there and go, okay, 50 grand or 10 grand or 100 grand. You know, I just kind of go with what I have, what watches, I like, and ones that I think I'm going to wear and keep. I mean, I've bought a lot of watches that I've sold on top of it, not flipped, but sold and lost a lot of money just because I like to wear a watch for a little bit. And if I don't bond with it, I'm going to just get rid of it. Or if, depending on the type of watch it is, I'll just put it in storage, you know? So, you know, yeah, and I've sold some watches off, hence the fact that I have a package coming that I missed today. But still, you know, I don't look at it like that. I just look at what watches I want, what watches I'm going to wear. I've definitely toned down a lot in the sense of what I'm wearing these days, I guess. But thanks for your question, man. This next one comes from Time Bomb, B-A-U-M. Hey, Tony, I saw your video on the Bindi event with the Zenith Rainbow Sapphires. It's the only rainbow watch I've seen that actually looks good. Yeah, I agree, man, right? I'm curious what you think about watches with diamonds and other jewels. Personally, they're too flashy for me, but each to their own. Thanks. I'm the same way, man. I'm not like I mean, I told plenty of people at that Zenith event, you know, I think it's a beautiful watch. I mean, I couldn't spend $40,000 on something I'm not going to wear. You know what I mean? And I would only wear it here in my house. I'd probably never wear it out because I'm just not that guy. But with diamonds and things like that, I'm just not that either, you know? I mean, I can appreciate it and I can look at a watch and go, damn, that looks good, you know? But it doesn't necessarily mean I would rock it. I would wear it, you know what I mean? I could appreciate owning one even and just keeping it in a case that I could look at. I know, that's weird, isn't it? But, you know, no, I wouldn't wear one, I don't think. Well, I've had watches with diamonds on them and I have worn them, but not, I get bored with them too. It's like, all right, that's done. That's whatever. Thanks for your question, man. This next one's from MGATLINMT. Great, Tony, or great video, Tony. Thanks, man. I don't know which one you're talking about, but looks like a great time. It looks like you've got, okay, you're talking about the Zenith event. Looks like you've got the Deluxe rubber strap with the leaf spring clasp. What are your thoughts on it? I've got one and absolutely love it. The clasp is a pretty ingenious design, in my opinion. Cheers. You're talking about the strap here with this. I did a video on this. This is not a Deluxe strap. This is a Tempo Mat. And this is FKM rubber. And you have to cut this strap to fit it. So you have to cut it and you have to be real careful when you do it. And then you've got the clasp here. It's got this fold over, which I don't know how long that's going to last for before it breaks, but it's pretty. Yeah, it's a pretty cool design. But the strap's cool. The company sent it to me for free, so I mean, yeah, it's a really comfortable strap. I do really like it. I'm sure the Deluxe is not any much different, but yeah, it's cool. So thanks for your question, man. Next one comes from Patrick T7338. Hey Tony, knowing the Daytona Panda is virtually impossible from the AD, which would you choose and why? Each has its pros and cons, but I'm curious as to your opinion. The Panda, yeah, I mean, it is virtually impossible, but I did get one. So, and on top of that, I would still buy on your list that you hear. I'm curious as to your opinion. Omega Speedy Sapphire, Sandwich, Zenith Chrono Sport, Tudor Black Bay Chrono. And I think you're asking me which one of these I would pick if I, say, for instance, didn't get the Daytona and all day long the Zenith Chrono Sport. I mean, it's the only watch I think that's really allowed to be the same aesthetics as what a Rolex Daytona is, you know, because of the Daytona Zenith relationship. But it's way more legible. I think it's got a better movement than the Rolex, although you know they're good. Their Rolex movements are great. Omega Speedy, no, I wouldn't get one of those. I'm not into it. It's a manual wind watch and a chronograph, which is nothing wrong with that. I'm just not into having a watch like that that's manual wind. I believe that one. They do make a Speedy reduced. I think that's automatic though. I believe. I'm not a Omega expert. The Tudor Black Bay Chrono, no, I don't like it. I just think it's a basic chronograph watch. There's nothing appealing about it to me. I have tried it on. It's thick. It's Zenith Chrono Sport all day long, any day of the week. Thank you for your question, man. Adrian. Okay. If that's you, that's who I'm reading it to. I am a max 6 watch guy. What would you add to my current collection? Panda 116-500, a Batgirl, Cartier Tank Louis, or the Casio F91. Well, you can get a Casio any day of the week, right? Cartier Tank Louis. I mean, you're looking at watches that are pretty far apart from each other, you know, apples and oranges with the Cartier Tank Louis 18 karat rose gold. That's a small, tiny little watch, man. Even the large is a small, tiny little watch, but it'll probably still look good. The Panda 116-500 or the Batgirl. I think the Batgirl is the quintessential GMT. It's just super legible. It's super classic looking. It's just a beautiful watch. 2 time zones, 3 time zones, depending on how you want to do it. Panda, you know, depending on how your eyesight is. With my eyesight, the Panda sucks. So I'd go with the Panda. I mean, I'd go with I'd go with the Batgirl. And if you have a choice at your AD, well, you're not going to get the 116 at the AD, but you know, yeah, I'd go with the Batgirl. Thinking of a Black Bay 58, maybe, or an Omega NTTD. Is that the No Time to Die? Black Bay 58s are cool too, you know. But yeah, best of luck to you, man. This comes from Now That's Funky. Right off the bat, would you consider the Zenith Daytona, not the Rolex one, but the one that the Zenith is making right now? And if so, what color? Yeah, the Zenith Chronomaster Sport. Yeah, I would get that, and I would get that in the black dial. I looked at all the other dials. I've looked at that watch a million times. I've literally had them on the table, just like couldn't decide which one, and then I ended up buying this. But even before this, I'd almost bought, you know, the black one. It is legible. It's a beautiful watch. It's, you know, iconic movement, you know, so that's what I would do. Thanks for your question, dude. Christian B 4517. Hey Tony, thank you for another great video. My comment for the night is, what do you think of the Tag Heuer Chrono glass box with the retro 38mm black dial? I recently purchased it for my AD and absolutely love it. You answered the question right there. You purchased it from your AD and you absolutely loved it. That's all that matters. My opinion doesn't mean shit. I would love it if you can review it sometime. Thank you for all the time and effort you put into your channel. Cheers to Paco, the feline champ. Yes, man, Paco was awesome. Uku's right here too. I can't review it because I don't own it. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to really review a watch I don't own, or in fact, even a watch I haven't even seen. And if I have seen it, I just don't know. You know what I mean? So as long as you love it, though, you know. And if I ended up picking one up, because you never know, I can go in and go, oh my god, that's beautiful, and then pick it up and then do a review on it. So as long as you love it, you know, and I'm sure it looks good. I appreciate your question, man. Thank you. Um, this next one comes from Jackanon 4418. Is that jacking on or jacking off? Sorry, I'm just kidding, man. Thanks for another great and informative video. I always mark the start of a weekend with watching the Q&A. I have a quick question, partially brought on by the Hamilton, Pennsylvania comment you made. Have you heard of RGM or Marathon watches? Oh, why, yes, I have. I have a Marathon GSAR. It's a pretty durable, purpose-built watch like the Hamilton, and I like the tritium gas-filled tubes. It's a different look at night. Yeah, the tritium's good. It doesn't last as long as what they say, like 30 years or whatever. It always seemed to last just a few years, but yours might last longer. Not quite as bright as Lume, but it's constant and doesn't fade or need to be charged. Well, discarding the whole multi-year half-life of tritium anyways. RGM watches are custom made in Pennsylvania. Their higher end models are pretty bespoke and pricey from what I can tell, but they do look pretty nice. I hardly ever hear about the brand though, so I just thought I would ask. Have a nice weekend. Yeah, you have a nice weekend as well. Yeah, I do know RGM. I've done videos on RGM, or at least mentioned them in videos. And that's, what's this guy's name? Is it Ron or is it Rob? Rick, it's RGM. Dude's all in-house. He worked for Hamilton for many years, and then he was like the chief designer for Hamilton or whatever he was. And so, you know, and he's got his workshop. He looks like he's like a construction worker, man, but down to earth, real cool dude from what I've seen as far as interviews go. And you know, I've always wanted to kind of look at one and maybe pick one up, but I just haven't. But I've known about them for a pretty long time now, at least 20 years, I think. So thanks for your question, man. And then last question from Go Bricklaying 106. Very cool. Thanks for sharing. Zenith is deep. I really like the colors and the Defy 21 Ultraviolet. Unrelated question. What do you think of Frank Mueller watches and their movements? Frank Mueller, master of complications. You know, Frank Mueller is awesome. I love Frank Mueller. Frank Mueller got himself into a lot of kind of trouble back in the early 2000s. He was getting into all kinds of drug shit, and then he started importing watch movements from Russia, I believe, and like cheap movements and putting them in his watches and whatever. And I think some of them have like cheap ADA movements too. Doesn't discredit him as a watchmaker though, because he is a watchmaker and a true watchmaker. When you look at some of the I actually have a Frank Mueller. It's a Crazy Colored Dreams, not the Crazy Hours, but Crazy Colored Dreams. But it does have the Crazy Hour feature, which is kind of weird. But if you see his watches, and he's got the roulette watches, I think he was more like, I think he inspired Richard Mille, and I think a lot to do with Jacob and Co. Some of the stuff he's done, like with the roulette watch. Frank Mueller did it first. Frank Mueller used to be everywhere, and if you ever see him in person, they are beautiful. You can pick them up really cheap now, but it's kind of a shame what happened. I know that Frank Mueller had a falling out with his partner. There was this whole thing with everything, and I don't necessarily think Frank Mueller actually even has anything to do with that company anymore. So that being said, we're at the end, and I appreciate everyone, and you guys, we'll see you on the next one.